Hey, how you guys doing? Officer J back here with another one. So today I want to talk about the media and how it relates to law enforcement. So, for instance, whenever you see something on the news, let's say an officer involved shooting, officer involved incident, or just anything with people, but we're going to talk about law enforcement. We're probably going to seg off to just about people in general. But so you watch the news or you're on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, and you see something about officer shoots or officer involved in whatever the incident is, whether it's a case of excessive force or officer had to do this, officer had to do that. Uh, as much as I am a fan of free media press and, the media being able to report whatever they want, the media is also picky in what they report. So the media will report an officer involved incident where sometimes the officer is wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say the officers that are always right. There are times when the officers, wrong. See, it's a divisive thing, but you can see George Floyd there, and you can take your opinion on that. But the media will say, "Hey, officer did this," and then they'll branch off, and then they'll say, "Well, look, even 25 years ago, an officer did this or similar." But not that these things aren't true, but what I'm getting at is they'll highlight the incidents where an officer could potentially be wrong, and then it makes it seem like this is happening at an alarming rate. For instance, like if you take the TV show Cops, it's what a 30-minute, hour-long show. But what a lot of people don't know is that it takes them about 2 months time just to get one episode worth of footage, and then it's not even at the same police department. They have to send crews to ride with different officers around the country just to fill up a 30-minute time slot. Just because, for the most part, some of these departments, a lot of things that happen on a daily basis is newsworthy and TV worthy. So they have to sit there and have multiple crews riding multiple times, essentially 12 to 16 hours a day, just to get 2 minutes worth of footage that they can use, because these incidents on that you see on TV does not happen at the rate that they're showing that it happens at. For every, let's say, officer involved incident, you might have millions, and I'm not even exaggerating this number. We're talking about, global or national scale. You'll have millions of encounters that are just run of the mill encounters. An officer encounter will be a traffic stop. Like you're speeding, officer stop you, you get a ticket or he gives you a warning. That's an officer encounter. You run into those every day and you don't even think about it because it's like, oh, I was speeding, I got a ticket, or I was speeding, he gave me a warning, whatever it may be. Or you call the police and say, hey, somebody broke into my house, and they come and do a crime scene, and that's an officer encounter. So to make it seem like that these officer involved incidents are happening at an alarming rate is bad, because now it's creating you're only showing the bad to the public, and now the public is forming a giant opinion like, oh, look, all cops are bad, look what they're doing to us, look what they're doing to these sets of people. And then you're like, no, that was one officer in Minnesota or one officer in Washington D.C., and there's like 3 years gap between. But it's like, look at all these officers that are just having regular days that don't get involved in these incidents. But then people start asking, a lonely officer in Texas, hey, what a oh, I did this because I see what you cops are doing. It's like, dude, that was an officer way 20 states away from me. I had nothing to do with that. But that's just the nature of the media. The media also does that with just regular public. Let's say star NFL player gets accused of hitting his wife or raping a girl or whatever. Not saying these things aren't bad. I mean, these things happen, But for instance, there was this one college player. He was accused of raping another college girl or whatever. Turns out that the girl lied. But the media wasn't as loud reporting that he was actually innocent and the girl lied as they were about, putting on like, oh, he did this, and that. It cost him his career, but I mean, at the end of the day, I get it that, with victims, you want to protect the victim's rights, and I'm not going against that. But what I'm saying is the media will sit here and just make somebody seem like a bad person, without all the information. They're quick to report something like officer involved shooting, we'll update further when we have more details. It's like, why are you posting this before you even have all the details? You're just saying officer involved shooting. I mean, which is technically true, but you're leaving you're leaving people to wander, and then you just reported yesterday, officer shoots unarmed black guy, or officer shoots this and that. So what you're posting, and now you're posting this, or like we'll update later, is leaving people to build an opinion based off of previous incidents that you reported, whether they be valid or not. So that's my whole thing when it comes to the media. I'm not saying don't follow it. I mean, definitely follow, because they do give news, and I mean, you have to get your news, especially your world and national news. But whenever you're looking at the news and all that, I just want you to take into consideration the source and what they're not reporting. How many encounters are they not reporting that were either positive or didn't end with somebody losing their life? Like I said, there's a lot of positive encounters. They don't report. The officer goes to the school, talks to the children about career day and all that. Nobody, they don't report that. They never report officer gets down out of his unit, plays basketball with the kids. Then, officer goes out and buys groceries for a family that didn't need it. None of these things are reported. So that's the encounters that I'm talking about. So for every one of these shootings or officer involved incidents, you're going to have millions of encounters just like that. But that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.